Hana stood perfectly still as the cold metal scanner moved around her body. The blue light made her dark hair shine, but she kept her eyes down like she was taught. Dr. Kelvith watched from behind the glass wall, his gray alien skin wrinkled with what humans had learned meant happiness. Subject 247 shows no signs of rebellion, the doctor said to his assistant. Heart rate normal. No stress markers. Perfect compliance. Hana wanted to laugh, but she kept her face blank. These aliens thought they were so smart. For 3 generations, they had tried to breed humans who would obey without question. They thought they had finally won. The Villani had been conquering planets for hundreds of years. Every species they found would fight at first, then slowly give up hope. Within 3 generations, the conquered people would serve their new masters without complaint. But humans were different. Even after 50 years, humans still caused problems. That was why they started the breeding program. They took the most obedient humans they could find and made them have children together. Then they took those children and did the same thing. Hana was the 3rd generation, and the aliens believed she was proof that their plan worked. Bring in Subject 248, Dr. Kelvith ordered. Taman walked into the room with small, careful steps. His head was down and his hands were folded in front of him. He looked like the perfect servant, just like Hana. But when he passed close to her, she saw something in his eyes that the aliens missed. A quick flash of anger, gone in a second. Both subjects are ready for the final test, the doctor said. They will be separated tomorrow. Subject 247 will serve in the High Command. Subject 248 will remain here for further study. Hana felt her heart speed up, but she controlled her breathing. This was what they had planned for. All those nights whispering to each other in their cell. All those careful plans. Tomorrow she would be inside the enemy's most important place. That night the guards thought Hana and Taman were sleeping. They lay on their narrow beds in the dark room, facing away from each other. But Hana could hear Taman breathing, and she knew he was awake too. Are you ready? Taman whispered so quietly that only human ears could hear it. Yes, Hana whispered back. Remember what my grandmother told us? Before she died, Hana's grandmother had shared a secret. The first generation of humans captured by the Villani had not been broken. They had only pretended to give up. They taught their children to hide their true feelings, to wait for the right moment. They think obedience means we have no will, her grandmother had said, but we are just choosing when to use our will. Hana's parents had been part of the 2nd generation. They had been more careful, more clever about hiding their thoughts. They taught Hana and the other children to be even better at pretending. The aliens wanted servants, so they would give them servants. But these servants would remember everything, learn everything, and wait for their chance. The next morning, Supervisor Nexal came to collect Hana. The tall, thin alien moved like a stick insect, all sharp angles and quick movements. His 3 eyes looked at Hana with satisfaction. You are the proof that inferior species can be improved, he said in his clicking voice. Your bloodline will serve the Empire for generations. Hana bowed her head. I live to serve, she said in the flat voice she had practiced for years. As they walked through the facility, Hana memorized everything. The number of guards at each checkpoint, the locations of the security cameras, the times when the corridors were empty. All of this information would be useful later. She saw other humans in the facility. Some were from the 2nd generation, still pretending to be broken. Others were from the 1st generation, now old and gray, but their eyes still held secrets. A few were from her own generation, the ones the aliens thought were perfectly obedient. One of them was Minho, a boy she had grown up with. As she passed him, he was cleaning the floor with slow mechanical movements. But for just a moment their eyes met. In that instant she saw that he understood. He was ready too. The transport ship was small but fast. Hana sat in the cargo area with her hands folded, looking like a piece of luggage. The Villani pilot talked to his partner about how useful the new servants would be. Finally, the pilot said, a human that will not cause trouble. The breeding program was expensive, but it worked. The High Command will be pleased, his partner replied. Admiral Zorvan has been waiting for a human servant for years. Hana almost smiled. Admiral Zorvan was the most important military leader in the Villani Empire. If she could get close to him, she would learn secrets that could help all humans. The journey took 2 days. Hana spent the time practicing her role. She sat perfectly still, ate only when given food, and spoke only when asked direct questions. The Villani crew forgot she was even there. But Hana was always watching and listening. She heard them talk about supply problems on the outer worlds. She learned about new weapons being tested. Most importantly, she discovered that there were humans on many Vellani ships, all supposedly broken and obedient. When they reached the capital ship, Hana was amazed by its size. The vessel was like a floating city, with thousands of Vellani living and working inside. This was the center of their empire, the place where all the important decisions were made. A Vellani officer met them at the landing bay. He looked at Hana like she was a new tool. "This is the successful breeding result?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Supervisor Nexal replied. "Perfectly compliant. No signs of human stubbornness." The officer walked around Hana, examining her like farmers examined livestock back on Earth. "She looks normal. Are you sure the modification worked?" "Watch," Nexal said. He pointed at the floor. "Kneel." Hana immediately dropped to her knees, keeping her eyes down. Inside she was burning with anger, but her face showed nothing. "Stand, turn around. Bow," Nexal ordered. Hana followed each command instantly like a machine. The officer seemed impressed. "Take her to Admiral Zorvan," he said. "If she performs well, we will order more from the breeding program." As they walked through the ship, Hana saw more humans working in the corridors. They were cleaning, carrying supplies, and doing maintenance work. All of them moved with the same broken shuffle that the Vellani expected. But Hana noticed small things. The way one man's eyes tracked the guard positions. How a woman cleaning windows was actually looking out at the stars as if she was calculating something. These humans were not broken either. They were waiting just like she was. The Admiral's quarters were in the center of the ship, behind layers of security. Hana was scanned, searched, and documented before being allowed inside. Finally, she stood in a large room filled with star maps and battle plans. Admiral Zorvan was bigger than most Vellani, with scars across his gray skin that showed his experience in war. He looked at Hana with his cold black eyes. "So this is our new servant," he said. "I have heard much about the breeding program. You are supposed to be different from other humans." "I live to serve," Hana replied, bowing deeply. "We shall see," the Admiral said. "Your first task is simple. You will clean this room and prepare my meals. You will listen to nothing and remember nothing. Do you understand?" "Yes, Master," Hana said. But as she began to work, Hana was listening to everything and remembering everything. The Admiral was planning attacks on 3 human colonies. He was worried about supply lines being attacked by rebels. Most importantly, he was expecting reports from other fleets about human populations throughout the galaxy. Hana cleaned quietly, moving like a shadow through the room. The Admiral and his officers talked freely, thinking she was too stupid to understand. They had no idea that she was recording every word in her memory, preparing for the day when this information would help free her people. That night, in her small servants' quarters, Hana lay awake planning. Tomorrow she would begin the real work. She would find the other humans on this ship. She would learn their secrets and share her own. And slowly, carefully, they would prepare for the moment when the galaxy would learn that humans could never truly be made into servants. The aliens thought they had created the perfect obedient human. Instead, they had created the perfect spy. Hana had been serving Admiral Zorvan for 2 weeks when she made her first contact. She was carrying a tray of food through the ship's lower levels when she saw a human man fixing a broken pipe. His name tag read Jiho, Maintenance Level 3. The Vellani guard was looking at his data pad, not paying attention. Hana stumbled slightly, spilling some water from her tray. As she bent to clean it up, Jiho moved closer to help. "Careful, sister," he said quietly. "These floors are slippery." The word sister was not a mistake. It was a code that humans had used for years to identify each other as part of the hidden network. Hana looked at Jiho carefully. He was older, maybe 40, with graying hair and careful eyes. "Thank you, brother," she whispered back, using the return code. Jiho's eyes widened slightly. He had not expected the Admiral's new servant to be one of them. But he recovered quickly, finishing his work on the pipe while the guard waited impatiently. That night, Hana found a way to return to the lower levels. She told the guard she needed to collect special cleaning supplies from storage. The storage room was dark and quiet, and Jiho was waiting for her. "How long have you been free?" he asked directly. "I was never caught," Hana replied. "The breeding program failed. We learned to hide better." Jiho smiled for the first time since she had met him. There are others like you? Many others. My generation learned from our parents, who learned from yours. We have been preparing for this moment for 50 years. Jiho led her deeper into the storage area, where they could not be heard or seen. There are 43 humans on this ship, he said. Most of them are like me, first and second generation who learned to hide our thoughts. But we have been waiting for someone like you. Someone like me. Someone with access to the command center. Someone who can learn their plans and help us fight back. Over the next few weeks, Hana built a careful network of contacts throughout the ship. There was Mira, a young woman who worked in the communications center. Her job was to carry messages and clean the equipment, but she had learned to read the alien language. She could understand much of what the Villani officers were saying. There was also Wu Jin, an older man who worked in the engine room. He had been a soldier before the Villani captured Earth's colonies, and he still remembered how to fight. He had been teaching the younger humans combat skills, disguising the lessons as maintenance work. And there was Suman, barely 20 years old, who had a gift for understanding technology. She worked in the ship's computer systems, and she had been slowly learning how Villani technology worked. The aliens thought she was just cleaning dust from the machines, but she was actually mapping their entire network. Each day, Hana gathered more information from Admiral Zorvan's quarters. She learned about Villani military strategies, their supply lines, and their weaknesses. But most importantly, she discovered the locations of human populations throughout their empire. The Admiral often met with other commanders through video calls. Hana would serve them drinks and clean while they talked, and they never thought to guard their words around her. She learned that there were humans on dozens of ships and hundreds of planets. Many of them were working in the same roles: servants, maintenance workers, and laborers who the Villani believed were completely broken. One day, Admiral Zorvan received an important message that made Hana's blood run cold. The Villani had discovered a new human colony, a group of people who had been hiding in a distant star system for 30 years. The Admiral was planning to attack them in 1 week. This colony has been avoiding us for too long, he told his officers. We will capture them all and add them to our servant population. The attack will begin in 6 days. Hana knew she had to act. That night she met with her network in the storage room. Jiho, Mira, Wujin, and Sumin all listened as she explained what she had learned. We cannot let them destroy another human settlement, she said. But if we try to warn them, the Villani will know we are not really servants. Maybe it is time to stop pretending, Wujin said. His old soldier's instincts were telling him to fight. Not yet, Hana replied. If we reveal ourselves now, we can only save one colony. But if we stay hidden, we might be able to save all humans everywhere. Suman had been thinking while they talked. I might have another way, she said. I have been studying the navigation systems. If I can change the coordinates they are using, the fleet will go to the wrong place. That is very dangerous, Mira warned. If they discover the sabotage, they will investigate everyone on the ship. Then we have to make sure they do not suspect us, Hana said. We need to make it look like an accident or a system failure. Over the next 3 days, they prepared carefully. Suman identified the exact moment when she could access the navigation computers without being seen. Mira found a way to delay the discovery of the problem. Jiho and Wujin prepared to create distractions if needed, but Hana had the most dangerous job. She needed to make sure that Admiral Zorvan would not suspect his perfect servant. On the day of the sabotage, everything went according to plan at first. Suman changed the navigation coordinates while pretending to clean dust from the computers. The new coordinates would send the fleet to an empty star system 3 days away from the real colony. For 2 days, nothing happened. The fleet prepared for departure, and Admiral Zorvan was confident in his upcoming victory. Hana continued to serve him, showing no signs of knowledge or emotion, but on the 3rd day, disaster struck. Commander Thex, the Admiral's tactical advisor, noticed something wrong with the star charts. He was a careful and suspicious Villani, who did not trust anything that seemed too easy. Admiral, he said during the morning briefing, these coordinates do not match our previous intelligence about the human colony. Admiral Zorvan looked at the data more carefully. Are you sure? Yes, sir. I believe our navigation system has been compromised. The Admiral's face grew dark with anger. He immediately ordered a full investigation of all ship systems. Within hours, the Villani technicians discovered that the coordinates had been changed, Someone sabotaged our mission, Commander Thex announced. This was not an accident. Hana felt her heart racing, but she kept her face blank as she cleaned the Admiral's quarters. Around her, the Villani officers were furious and confused. How is this possible? Admiral Zorvan demanded. Who could have accessed our navigation systems? It had to be someone with regular access to the computer areas, Commander Thex replied. I suggest we interrogate all the servants and maintenance workers. Hana knew that their time of hiding was almost over. Soon the Villani would question every human on the ship. Under their advanced interrogation methods, even the strongest person would eventually break. But they had saved the colony. Somewhere in space, thousands of humans were still free because of what they had done, and now it was time for the next phase of their plan. That night, as the Villani prepared their investigation, Hana met with her network one last time in secret. They all knew that tomorrow would bring danger and pain. We have done something important today, she told them, but this is only the beginning. Soon, humans throughout the galaxy will know that we are not really broken. We are ready to fight back, Jiho nodded grimly. What should we do when they question us? We tell them the truth, Hana said. We tell them that humans can never be turned into slaves. We tell them that their breeding program did not create servants. It created soldiers. As they prepared to return to their quarters, Suman asked the question they were all thinking. Do you think the other humans in the galaxy are ready for what comes next? Hana thought about all the humans she had seen throughout the ship, all the careful signs that they were still fighting in secret. She thought about the colonies scattered across space, all pretending to be defeated while they prepared for their moment. They have been ready for 50 years, she said. Tomorrow we show the galaxy that humans cannot be conquered. The next morning, Admiral Zorvan began his investigation. But by then, Hana had already made her choice. The time for hiding was over. The rebellion was about to begin. The interrogation room was cold and white, with bright lights that hurt human eyes. Hana sat in a metal chair, her hands tied behind her back. Across from her, Interrogator Vex prepared his tools. The pale alien was known throughout the Villani Empire for his ability to break any prisoner. You are Subject 247 from the breeding program, Vex said, reading from his datapad. The perfect servant. The proof that humans can be made obedient. Admiral Zorvan watched from behind a glass wall. Commander Thex stood beside him, his 3 eyes focused on Hana with suspicion. They had questioned 12 humans already, but none had confessed to the sabotage. I do not understand why you are questioning me, Master, Hana said in her flat, obedient voice. I live only to serve. Vex activated a device that sent painful sounds into Hana's ears. She winced but did not cry out. The interrogator increased the power, but Hana remained silent. Interesting, Vex said. Your pain tolerance is higher than expected. The breeding program enhanced more than just obedience. For 3 hours, Vex used different torture methods. He tried drugs that were supposed to make humans tell the truth. He used machines that caused terrible pain, but Hana continued to insist that she knew nothing about any sabotage. Finally, Admiral Zorvan entered the room. His patience was gone, and his anger filled the space like heat from a fire. Enough, he said. I will question her myself. The Admiral leaned close to Hana's face. I know you are involved in this sabotage. Your kind cannot help themselves. Even the ones we breed for obedience still have that human disease called defiance. Hana looked up at him with wide, innocent eyes. I do not understand, Master. I have served you faithfully. Yes, you have, Admiral Zorvan said slowly. You have cleaned my quarters perfectly. You have prepared my food exactly as ordered. You have been the ideal servant in every way. He paused, studying her face. But perhaps that is the problem. Perhaps you have been too perfect. Commander Thex stepped forward. What do you mean, Admiral? Think about it, Zorvan said. Every other human we have captured still shows small signs of their old nature. They move too slowly sometimes, or their eyes show anger for just a moment. But this one never breaks character. Not even once. Hana felt ice in her stomach. The Admiral was smarter than she had thought. That level of control requires training, Zorvan continued. It requires practice. And it requires a reason to maintain such perfect behavior. The Admiral pulled out a weapon and pointed it at Hana's head. I am going to ask you one more time. Did you sabotage our navigation system? For a long moment, Hana said nothing. She could continue the lie, but she knew they would eventually discover the truth, and there was something else. She was tired of pretending to be weak. Slowly, Hana raised her head and looked directly into Admiral Zorvan's eyes. For the first time in weeks, she smiled. "Yes," she said, and her voice was no longer flat and obedient. "I sabotaged your system. I saved that colony, and you still do not understand what you are dealing with." The change in Hana was shocking. Her entire posture shifted from submissive to proud. Her eyes blazed with intelligence and defiance. She looked like a completely different person. "Impossible," Commander Thex whispered. The breeding program worked. She was completely compliant. Hana laughed, and the sound was nothing like the quiet, broken human they thought they knew. "Your breeding program did not create obedience. It created the perfect spy." She stood up, breaking the restraints that held her hands. The Villani had not realized that the breeding program had also enhanced human strength and speed. Hana moved faster than they could react, grabbing Commander Thex's weapon before anyone could stop her. "You want to know the truth about your breeding program?" Hana said, keeping the weapon trained on Admiral Zorvan. "You selected humans who appeared most obedient. But those humans were the ones who had learned to hide their thoughts best. You bred us for intelligence, for physical ability, and for self-control. Then you gave us access to your most important secrets." Admiral Zorvan's face showed confusion and growing fear. "That is impossible. We tested you. We scanned your mind. You tested whether we would obey simple commands," Hana replied. "You never tested whether we understood why we were obeying. You never asked if we were planning something while we served you." Interrogator Vex tried to activate an alarm, but Hana shot the device from his hand before he could reach it. Her enhanced reflexes and training made her faster than any normal human. "The truth is that humans can never be truly conquered," she continued. "You can kill us, but you cannot make us into willing slaves. Every human in your empire who appears broken is actually waiting for the right moment to strike back." "Even if that is true," Admiral Zorvan said, "you are one person on one ship. You cannot defeat the entire Villani Empire." Hana's smile grew wider. "You are right. I am one person. But I am not alone." At that moment, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Emergency lights flashed red in the corridors. From somewhere in the distance came the sound of explosions. "What is happening?" Commander Thex demanded. "The other humans on this ship have been waiting for my signal," Hana explained. "Right now, Jiho is destroying your engine control systems. Mira is broadcasting a message to every human population in your empire. Wu Jin is leading an attack on your weapons systems, and Suman is taking control of your computers." The rebellion that had been hidden for 50 years was finally beginning. Throughout the ship, humans who had pretended to be broken servants were revealing their true nature. They moved with coordinated precision, striking at the most important systems simultaneously. Admiral Zorvan tried to call for security, but the communication system was no longer working. Hana had planned for this moment carefully, and her people had prepared for years. "How many of you are there?" Zorvan asked. "On this ship?" 43 humans who you thought were your servants. "In your empire? Millions of humans who you thought were defeated. We have been waiting and preparing while you believed your lies about conquering us." Hana moved toward the door, still keeping her weapon ready. "The message Mira is sending contains detailed information about Villani military weaknesses, supply lines, and strategic plans. Every human settlement in the galaxy is receiving this information right now. You cannot escape this ship," Commander Thex said desperately. "Even if you take control, you are surrounded by our fleet." "We do not need to escape," Hana replied. "We are going to take this ship and use it to free our people from other Villani vessels. And they will do the same, spreading the rebellion from ship to ship, from planet to planet." She paused at the door and looked back at the 3 aliens. "You made a mistake when you decided to breed better humans. You gave us enhanced intelligence, strength, and reflexes. You trained us to understand your technology and psychology, and you placed us in positions where we could learn all your secrets. But most importantly," she added, "you underestimated what it means to be human. We do not fight just for ourselves. We fight for the idea that no thinking being should be enslaved. That idea is stronger than any weapon you have." As Hana left the interrogation room, she could hear the sounds of battle spreading throughout the ship. Humans who had hidden their true nature for decades were finally free to fight back. And in space around them, other ships would soon face the same uprising as their servants revealed themselves to be soldiers. The galaxy was about to learn that humans could never be truly conquered. The rebellion had begun, and it would not stop until every thinking being in the universe was free. The message spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. On mining planets and deep space stations, aboard merchant vessels and military ships, humans received Mira's transmission at the same moment. The carefully hidden network that had been building for 50 years suddenly came alive. Captain Sunho had been working in the mines of Kepler 442b for 15 years. The Vallani thought he was just another broken human, mining rare metals for their empire. But when Mira's message reached his hidden communicator, he smiled for the first time in months. "Brothers and sisters," he called to the other miners in their native Korean, "the day has come." Within minutes, 300 humans had stopped their mining work and gathered around Sunho. They produced weapons they had been making in secret, tools they had modified, and explosives they had created from mining equipment. "Today we take our world back," Sunho announced. "Today we show these aliens that humans cannot be slaves." On the other side of the galaxy, Yuna received the same message in her small room aboard a Vallani research station. She had been serving as a translator for 12 years, helping the aliens communicate with newly captured human populations. But her real job had been gathering intelligence and preparing for this moment. She activated a hidden transmitter and began sending coordinates to human cells throughout the sector. Each cell had been waiting for orders, and now they had them. The rebellion would be coordinated across dozens of star systems, hitting the Vallani Empire where it was weakest. The Vallani High Command could not understand what was happening. Reports were coming in from everywhere at once. Slaves were uprising on mining worlds. Servants on military ships were sabotaging critical systems. Human workers in research facilities were stealing important technology and data. General Kornak, the Vallani military leader responsible for controlling human populations, stared at the flood of emergency messages on his screens. Each report seemed impossible, but together they painted a terrifying picture. "How can this be happening everywhere at once?" he demanded from his staff. "Our intelligence said humans were completely pacified." "Sir," his aide replied nervously, "it appears our intelligence was wrong. The humans have been coordinating this for years, maybe decades." Meanwhile, on Admiral Zorvan's flagship, Hana and her team had taken control of the bridge. The enhanced humans from the breeding program were proving to be incredibly effective fighters. Their improved strength and speed, combined with their knowledge of Vallani technology, made them almost unstoppable. Jiho had secured the engine room, cutting off the ship's ability to call for help or escape. Woojin led teams of human fighters through the corridors, freeing more prisoners and taking control of key systems. Suman had broken into the ship's main computer, giving them access to communications with the entire Vallani fleet. "Hana," Mira called from the communication station, "I am receiving messages from human groups across the galaxy. The rebellion is working. Dozens of ships have been captured, and at least 12 planets are now under human control." But Hana knew they could not celebrate yet. "What about Vallani response? How are they fighting back?" "That is the problem," Mira replied, her voice worried. "General Kornak has ordered his commanders to begin executing human populations rather than risk more uprisings." Hana felt cold fear in her stomach. This was what they had been afraid of. If the Vallani decided that humans were too dangerous to keep alive, millions of people would die before they could be rescued. "We need to move faster," she decided. "Suman, can you access the locations of all human populations in this sector?" "Already working on it," Suman replied from her position at the computer. "I have found 17 ships and 6 planets with significant human populations, but some of them are too far away for us to reach in time." Hana studied the star maps on the main screen. The rebellion was spreading, but it was also exposing human populations to deadly retaliation. They needed a way to protect everyone at once. "Can we contact the other captured ships?" she asked. "Yes," Mira said. "Several human groups have taken control of their vessels and are requesting orders." Hana activated the general communication system. Her voice would now reach every human-controlled ship in the area. "This is Hana speaking to all free humans," she began. "You have done something amazing today. You have proven that our people cannot be conquered, but now we face a choice." She paused, looking at the faces of her team around the bridge. "The Vallani are responding with violence. They would rather kill us than lose control of us. We can try to escape and save ourselves, or we can fight to save everyone." Responses came in immediately from the other ships. Captain Sunho's voice was the first. "We did not come this far to abandon our people now. From a captured research vessel, Dr. Yuna added, "We have been preparing for this fight for 50 years. We will not run when others need us." One by one, the voices of human leaders across the sector declared their commitment to the fight. The rebellion was no longer just about freedom for some humans. It was about freedom for all humans everywhere. "Then we fight," Hana declared, "but we fight smart. Suman, I need you to map every Vellani military position in this sector. Wujin, prepare our weapon systems. Mira, contact every human group in the galaxy and tell them what we are planning." The plan that emerged was audacious and dangerous. The human-controlled ships would work together to attack Vellani military bases, freeing prisoners before they could be executed. But they would also do something else. They would capture Vellani commanders and use them as hostages to protect human populations elsewhere. "This is not just a rebellion anymore," Hana explained to her team. "This is a war, and we are going to win it because we understand something the Vellani do not." "What is that?" Jiho asked. "They fight to maintain control," Hana replied. "We fight for the idea that all thinking beings should be free. That makes us stronger than any technology they have." The battle for the sector began 3 hours later. Human-controlled ships, many of them heavily damaged but still functioning, coordinated attacks on 12 Vellani installations simultaneously. The enhanced humans from the breeding program led boarding parties with devastating effectiveness. But the most important moment came when Hana's team captured General Kornak himself. The Vellani military leader was aboard a command vessel that the humans surrounded and boarded. When Kornak was brought before Hana, his alien features showed both anger and confusion. "You cannot win this war," he said. "Even if you capture this entire sector, the Empire has thousands of ships and millions of soldiers." "You are right," Hana agreed. "We cannot defeat your entire empire through military force, but we do not need to." She gestured to the screens around them, which showed the spreading rebellion across the galaxy. "Every day more humans are revealing their true nature. Every day your servants are proving they were never really servants at all. We do not need to conquer your empire. We just need to show every enslaved being in the galaxy that resistance is possible." General Kornak's expression changed as he began to understand the true scope of what was happening. This was not just a human rebellion. It was the beginning of something much larger. "Your empire is built on the idea that some beings are naturally superior to others," Hana continued. "But today the inferior beings are proving that idea wrong. And once that idea dies, your empire dies with it." As if to prove her point, new messages began arriving from across the galaxy. Other enslaved species were beginning their own uprisings, inspired by the human example. The rebellion was spreading beyond humanity to every conquered people in the Vellani Empire. The war for freedom had begun, and it would reshape the entire galaxy. 6 months after the rebellion began, Hana stood on the bridge of a captured Vellani dreadnought, looking at the green and blue planet below. This was Villanos Prime, the homeworld of the Empire that had enslaved billions of beings across the galaxy. Today it would face the consequences of its choices. The human fleet around her was a mix of captured alien vessels and ships built by freed populations. Humans, Zephyrians, Talaxians, and dozens of other species worked together as equals, united by their shared experience of oppression and their common dream of freedom. "Hana," called Donghyun from the science station. He was another product of the breeding program, like her, but his enhanced intelligence had been focused on genetics and biology. "I am detecting massive energy signatures from the planetary defense grid. They are preparing for a siege." "Let them prepare," Hana replied calmly. "We are not here to destroy their world. We are here to offer them a choice." Captain Sunho approached from the tactical station. The former miner had become one of the rebellion's most effective military leaders. "The other fleets are in position. We have ships from 47 liberated worlds ready to support us." Hana nodded. The rebellion had grown beyond anything the Vellani could have imagined. What started as a few humans pretending to be servants had become a galaxy-wide revolution. Entire star systems had declared independence from the Empire. Slave species that had been conquered centuries ago were fighting for their freedom, but the hardest battle still lay ahead. The Vellani High Council was meeting in emergency session to decide the fate of their empire. Reports from their intelligence network suggested they were considering the final solution: the complete extermination of every rebellious, Species in the galaxy, open a communication channel to the planetary surface. Hana ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing the ornate council chamber where the most powerful Villani leaders were gathered. At the center sat Supreme Chancellor Vorthak, his ancient gray skin marked with the scars of 1,000 battles. "So," the Chancellor said, his voice filled with contempt, "the escaped slaves have come to surrender." "No," Hana replied. "We have come to offer you peace." Laughter echoed through the council chamber. The Villani leaders could not believe what they were hearing. "Peace?" Chancellor Vorthak asked. "You destroy our fleets, steal our ships, and corrupt our slaves, and now you speak of peace?" "We speak of coexistence," Hana said. "Your empire can survive, but it must change. No more slavery. No more conquest of unwilling populations. The galaxy is large enough for all of us to live freely." Elder Counselor Nethys, one of the oldest Villani alive, leaned forward in her chair. "And if we refuse this generous offer? Then you will face the same choice that every tyrant in history has faced," Hana replied. "Adapt or perish." On cue, the tactical display showed the true scope of the rebellion fleet. Thousands of ships from hundreds of worlds surrounded Villanos Prime. But more importantly, they represented something the Empire had never seen before: former enemies working together as allies. "This is impossible," muttered another counselor. "Our military reports said the rebellion was contained to 3 sectors. "Your military reports were wrong," Hana said. "Just like your reports about broken humans were wrong. You have been fighting shadows while the real revolution happened right under your noses." Supreme Chancellor Vorthak's face showed growing anger. "Even if you destroy our homeworld, the Empire will survive. We have colonies across the galaxy." "Actually, you do not," interrupted Kyung, stepping into view beside Hana. The elderly human woman had been part of the first generation captured by the Villani 50 years ago. "While you were focused on our military actions, our people were spreading throughout your empire. Your colonies are already free." The truth was devastating. For months, while the Villani military chased rebel fleets, human agents had been working quietly throughout their territory. Servants, maintenance workers, and laborers who had been trusted for decades suddenly revealed their true nature. They sabotaged key systems, freed local populations, and coordinated uprisings on dozens of worlds. "You see," Hana explained, "this war was never really about military conquest. It was about proving that your fundamental beliefs about superiority and inferiority were wrong." She gestured to the diverse crew around her. "Look at this bridge. Humans, Zephyrians, Talaxians, and former Villani soldiers who chose freedom over empire. We are not trying to replace your tyranny with our own. We are trying to create something new." Chancellor Vorthak studied the screen carefully. For the first time, he seemed to be truly listening, rather than just reacting with anger. "What exactly are you proposing?" he asked. "A confederation of free worlds," Hana replied. "Each species governs itself according to its own values. Trade and cooperation are voluntary. No one species dominates another." "And the Villani?" asked Elder Counselor Nethys. "What role would we play in this confederation?" "The same role as everyone else," Hana said. "One voice among many. Your knowledge, your technology, and your organizational skills would be valuable contributions. But you would not be rulers." The council chamber erupted in angry voices. Some Villani leaders demanded immediate war. Others argued for negotiation. But Chancellor Vorthak raised his hand for silence. "You are asking us to abandon everything our civilization has been built on for 1,000 years, he said. "Yes," Hana replied simply, "because what your civilization has been built on is wrong." For a long moment the chamber was silent. Then Chancellor Vorthak asked the question that would determine the fate of the galaxy. "If we refuse your offer, what will you do?" Hana looked around the bridge at her diverse crew, then back at the screen. "We will defend ourselves and protect the innocent. But we will not become conquerors. We will not replace your empire with our own." "Then how will you stop us from rebuilding and attacking again?" demanded a young counselor. "Because," Hana said with a slight smile, "once people have tasted freedom, they never willingly give it up again. Your former slaves know what life can be like without masters. They will never serve you again." The truth of her words was evident in the reports flooding the council chamber. Across the galaxy, liberated populations were refusing to return to their former subjugation. Even when Villani forces tried to retake control, they found empty worlds and determined resistance. Supreme Chancellor Vorthak closed his eyes and thought for a long time. When he opened them again, his expression had changed. "If we agree to this confederation," he said slowly, "what guarantees do we have that other species will not seek revenge against us?" "The same guarantee we all have," Hana replied. "The promise that justice is more powerful than vengeance. The agreement that the future is more important than the past." 6 hours later, the Villani High Council voted to accept the Confederation proposal. The vote was close, and many Villani leaders remained opposed to the new order. But enough had recognized the truth that Hana spoke. Their old way of life was ending whether they chose it or not. The signing ceremony took place on a neutral space station 3 days later. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to create the Charter of Free Worlds. Hana signed on behalf of humanity, but she was just one voice among many. As she watched the former enemies working together to build something new, Hana thought about her grandmother's words from so long ago. "We are just choosing when to use our will." The will to resist had become the will to build. The humans who had pretended to be servants had become the architects of galactic freedom, and the galaxy would never be the same. 5 years later, Hana served as humanity's representative to the Confederation Council. The former Villani Empire had become a collection of independent worlds, each free to choose its own path. Trade flourished, cultures mixed, and ideas spread freely across the stars. Taman had become the director of the former breeding facilities, which were now schools where young beings of all species learned about cooperation and freedom. The enhanced humans created by the Villani program used their abilities to explore new worlds and solve problems that no single species could handle alone. But the most important change was not political or military. It was the simple recognition that intelligence and consciousness created rights that no one could take away. The galaxy had learned that freedom was not something granted by the powerful, but something that belonged to everyone. And in a small research station orbiting Earth, humanity's homeworld, finally revealed and free, children of many species played together while their parents worked side by side, building a future where no one would ever be forced to serve another again.